Hey, what's up guys? I went out to Crested Butte with my mountain bike last week, and I wanted to do a little side-by-side comparing my EVO SS gimbal with the built-in stabilization on the Gopro Hero 7 Black. So what I'm going to do is show you a little side-by-side. Right now you're looking at it without the gimbal. This is just the hypersmooth stabilization on the Gopro, which honestly is pretty nice if you've ever compared it to unstabilized footage. So now let's take a look at same trail using the EVO SS wearable gimbal. First thing you notice is how much smoother the surroundings look, especially the horizon, the trail, all that stuff. Obviously the trade-off being that because the camera is so stable, the handlebars, all that kind of stuff is moving around a lot more. So that's the trade-off here. I tried really hard to ride this trail twice, once with the gimbal and once without, at roughly the same speed. So let's maybe take a look at a split screen so we can kind of see them side by side. So looking at this side by side, I've got to say both the GoPro in-camera hypersmooth stabilization and the EVO SS gimbal provide pretty smooth images. Both of these look pretty good. The big obvious difference that you see in the turns here is that the gimbal also levels the camera. So as you're going through the turns, you don't get the rocking back and forth, which, you know, I don't know how big of a deal it is, but it's definitely noticeable. So there's one more thing to consider, and I'm not sure how big of a deal this is for everyone, but when using the hypersmooth stabilization in the GoPro, in order to do that, it has to crop the image, so you do lose about 5 to 10% of the total field of view. Now, depending on what you're doing, that may or may not be a big deal. If you're using any of the zoomed in views, it's probably not, but if you're trying to use super view, which is what I used here, you do lose a little bit of that image, and that is something to consider. So sorry I got a little bit slowed down here, so the two videos are going to be more out of sync than usual, but let's go ahead and wrap up. So the question is it worth it to buy a gimbal, or do you need it? I think if you really want to have the most out of your videos, then yes. The gimbal gives you full frame use of your camera, there's no cropping, it's a little bit smoother than the in-camera stabilization, and it keeps the horizons level, which is a lot more pleasant to look at. That being said, it costs money, there's a learning curve to it, and it's an extra piece of bulky equipment that you have to have mounted on your chest. They don't work too well mounted on handlebars or helmets. So in that regard, you know, it's not for everyone. And I think if a lot of people just use the stabilization in the camera, I think that would probably be good enough. I mean, if we look at them side by side, there's a difference, but it's not night and day.